Come, let us travel back in time, not to see a world of long ago, but to hear it. The date is May 6, 1937. We are floating high above the ground. Below us, the green fields of New Jersey are small and quiet. We are aboard the Hindenburg, the largest airship ever built. It is a marvel of its age, a silver giant in the sky. Close your eyes for a moment and just listen. Can you hear it? It is not silence. A gentle hum, the sound of moving, the sound of progress, of an amazing journey about to end. A moment of peace and excitement, suspended between the long ocean crossing and the safe arrival on land. The air seems to buzz with gentle energy, human achievement. The powerful engines are far away. A low, steady rumble you feel more than hear, like the deep breathing of a sleeping giant. This sound has been with everyone on board for 3 days. A sound of safety, power in perfect control, the heartbeat of this magnificent machine. But listen closer. Other sounds are here too. We'll guide you through the final hour of the Hindenburg's last flight. The soft whisper of air through vents. The distant happy chatter of people almost home. Normal afternoon sounds. Today, history waiting to happen. Step into this world of sound. If you were to stand away from the lively salon, perhaps in a quiet corridor or near one of the large observation windows, you would hear a different set of sounds. These are the sounds of the airship itself, the voice of the gentle giant. The immense structure is a complex skeleton of metal rings, girders all covered by a fabric skin. As the ship moves and turns in the wind, this structure sings its own quiet song. You can hear the faint, almost musical groans and creaks of the duralumin frame. It is the sound of metal under tension, holding its shape against the forces of the air. It is not a sound of danger, but a sound of life, like the creaking of a tall tree in the wind. The wind itself makes its own music as it flows over the vast, smooth surface of the airship. Inside the massive hull, hidden from the passengers, are the 16 enormous gas cells. These bags, filled with hydrogen, are the lifeblood of the ship. They also make their own subtle sounds. They are constantly expanding or contracting as the ship changes altitude and temperature. This causes a faint rustling or shifting sound, like the rustle of giant silk sheets. The network of wires and ropes that holds the cells in place also contributes to the ship's song. They hum and vibrate with the engines, and they creak softly as they take the strain of the massive lifting bags. These are the secret sounds of the Hindenburg, the inner workings of the magic that keeps it afloat. Now, as the ship prepares to land, these structural sounds begin to change. The mood on board begins to shift. The journey is almost over. A new sound emerges: anticipation. Passengers relaxing in the salon, now standing by the large, tilted observation windows. Their conversations stop being casual. Voices take on a different energy. "Look, I can see the landing crew," someone exclaims. Rustle of coats being put on, click of luggage latches fastened, eager to get on the ground, to meet families and friends. Low murmur turns into a focused, excited buzz. It's the sound of an ending, a happy one. Crew voices cut through with new frequency and purpose. Orders were quiet before. Now they're louder, more direct. Crisp, formal German commands from the control car. Langsam voraus. Slow ahead, Allmaschinen halt. All engines stop. A well-practiced, complex procedure. Outside, weather adds another layer. Sky grows darker. Light rain begins to fall. Soft patter of raindrops on fabric skin. Wind picks up. Whisper becomes an insistent moan. Low rumble of distant thunder. And then, it happens. A sound that does not belong. It is not loud. It is a small, strange pop. It is a soft, urgent hissing. Before anyone can fully understand what that hissing means, the first human sounds of terror begin. It starts not as a scream, but as a confused cry. A shout of alarm from a member of the landing crew on the ground who sees something the passengers cannot. It's on fire! The voice is thin and distant. At almost the same moment, a gasp comes from a passenger at a rear window. A sharp, inhaled breath of pure shock. These first cries are not of pain, but of disbelief. They are the sounds of the human mind trying to understand something that is impossible. The beautiful, silver ship cannot be on fire. But the hissing grows louder. The hissing is now a rushing, roaring noise. The air itself explodes. The small fire, fed by escaping hydrogen, finds massive fuel. The result is not just a fire, but a detonation. A tremendous, deafening roar rips through the evening air. A sound so powerful it shakes the ground for miles. Millions of cubic feet of hydrogen ignite almost at once. This is the sound radio announcer Herb Morrison described Oh, the humanity! A deep, world-ending boom overwhelms everything. The entire rear half of the airship turns into a gigantic ball of fire. The burning mass collapses into fire and smoke. Inside the falling ship, a hellish symphony of destruction. The metal frame groans, then becomes a violent, screeching protest. Girders as thick as a man's arm twist and snap like twigs, tearing, shrieking metal like a collapsing cathedral. The passengers' screams merge into a single, continuous wail, barely audible above fire and metal. People hurled against walls and furniture, breaking glass, splintering wood. The fire has a voice, a monstrous, all-consuming roar, a giant furnace, a rushing, howling inferno. The whoosh of oxygen into the heart of the blaze, crackle and pop of everything flammable, linen, the furniture, the luggage, the very clothes on people's backs. For those trapped inside, the last sound they will ever hear. A sound that blocks out all thought. Pure, elemental destruction. The burning skeleton of the Hindenburg crashes to the ground. A final, terrible sound. A colossal, earth-shaking crunch. Hundreds of tons of twisted, burning metal hitting wet turf. Sparks and flaming debris fly into the air. Part thud, part crash, part explosion. The sound of the end. The giant is dead. The journey is over. In the moments immediately following this final catastrophic noise, a new sound begins to emerge from the chaos. A shocking, profound, and terrible silence. In the instant after the crash, the roar is gone. A stunning, unnatural silence falls over the field. It is a silence made heavier by the deafening noise that came before it. But it is not truly empty. Listen closely. The first sound is the crackling of the remaining flames. The fire is no longer roaring, it is now consuming the last of the wreckage on the ground. A lower, more intimate sound, like 1,000 campfires burning together. The disaster settling down. The final embers slowly dying out. Soon other sounds fill the silence. Wails of ambulance sirens growing closer. Wails of fire engine sirens growing closer. The outside world rushing in, help arriving too late. Human sounds return, shocked whispers and cries from witnesses on the ground. Did you see that? Oh my God. Tentative shouts of rescuers. Is anyone there? Can anyone hear me? Moans and cries of survivors staggering out of the wreckage. The voice of radio announcer Herb Morrison captures the moment. His broadcast was live. His voice, cracking with emotion, describes what he sees. It's burst into flames. This is terrible. Oh, the humanity. A raw, unfiltered reaction. His voice becomes the sound of the disaster for millions. The sound did not end that evening in 1937. It echoes through history.